This is the Southside School of Financial Freedom Market Report and small account update for the week ending August 3rd, 2024. The market finished lower this week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average decreased minus 1.51% on Friday and was down minus 2.1% for the week. The S&P 500 decreased minus 1.84% on Friday and was down minus 2.06% for the week. The Nasdaq decreased minus 2.43% on Friday and was down minus 3.35% for the week. Looking at the week, we can see that there were 6 up finishes versus 9 down finishes for the major indexes. On Monday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average finished down, while the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq finished up. On Tuesday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average finished up, while it was the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq that finished down. On Wednesday, all the major indexes finished up, and on Thursday and Friday, they all finished down. How did you do? My small account finished minus 12.55% lower, but generated cash flow of 2.52%. Even when the market falls and or my account doesn't do well, I still get income or cash flow by selling covered calls and naked puts. This method does not only guarantee cash flow or income, it can also beat the S&P 500. I use a watch list to determine which options of stocks that I want to sell. A stock has to meet 5 criteria to be on my trading watch list. I will not reveal what my criteria are, but if you examine my list, you may be able to figure out the criteria for yourself. The last row, however, is my benchmark row. That is, I measure my performance against gold, silver, and the S&P 500. Looking at my watch list from the week, the strongest performer on the list was iShares Silver Trust, ticker symbol SLV in the second column. It was up 0.04% on Friday and increased 2.2% for the week. iShares Silver Trust is an exchange-traded fund, or ETF, that seeks to reflect the price of silver owned by the fund, less the fund's expenses. The fund is not actively managed, nor does it engage in any activities designed to obtain a profit from the change in the price of silver. The fund simply offers investors a way to participate in the price movement of silver without actually owning physical silver. Looking at a summary of results, you can see that SLV has increased 19.56% year to date. I did not generate cash flow from SLV this week, though I have generated income from it in the past. I did generate income or cash flow from selling 6 different option contracts, 5 calls, and 1 put that range from $10.34 to $25.34. On Tuesday, I sold 2 calls, one for $18.34 and one for $25.34. On Wednesday, I sold a call for $15.34, and on Friday, I sold 2 calls, one for $22.34, one for $10.34, and I sold a put for $19.34. That is a total of $111.04, which is not a lot of money, but the account is small, and $111.04 in cash flow was 2.52% of my account value. With this system, the cash flow money is free and clear. You can take it out of your account and spend it, or leave it in to build your cash balance and or invest it. If you want to increase the amount of cash flow, just use a larger account. For example, to 10x the cash flow to $1,110.40, use a larger account, and instead of selling 1 of everything that I sold, sell 10. This strategy is guaranteed to produce cash flow immediately and every week that it is applied. However, it does not guarantee the amount of cash flow from week to week, nor the value of your account. The amount varies and the account value varies. Despite the variations in amount and value, the goal is to generate cash flow and beat the S&P 500. Please note that most professional money managers and their strategies do not consistently beat the S&P 500 every year. They usually lose, and they lose by a lot. Last year, this method beat the S&P 500 by almost 12%. But in 2024, my account is down minus 19.12% versus 12.12% up for SPY, which is an S&P 500 ETF. That's a difference of 31.24%. I am losing to the S&P by over 31%. It is not unusual to beat the S&P 500 one year and then lose to the index the next year, which is what I am currently doing. As I am still trailing SPY by a lot, I had been making progress, but this past week set me back a lot. However, I am confident that I will gain on the S&P 500 and beat it by year's end. Tune in next week to find out what happens. Bitcoin watch. Bitcoin lost minus 9.5% this past week, and it is down minus 16.26% from its all-time high, though it is up just over 47% year to date. Some people believe Bitcoin is the most transformative financial asset in 1,000 years. I think the best course of action is to dollar cost average, that is DCA, into the S&P 500 and DCA into Bitcoin at a 30 to 70% ratio for the next 10 years, and or up to when you have invested at least $10,000. In fact, I have implemented a similar strategy where I have a portfolio that is almost 90% in a Bitcoin ETF. It is down minus 1.02% after 7 weeks. What do you think? What is your strategy? Do you know how to produce cash flow every week and beat the S&P 500? Do you invest in Bitcoin, which may prove to be the smartest investment of the decade? As you develop, analyze, and implement your strategy, please check back to see how my small account and my Bitcoin dominant account performs against the S&P 500 from week to week by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you.